I'm going to be 100% outcome memory. As you all know, inside the game currently, there's 7 survivors and 1 EXE. And with that, there is over 150 cosmetics inside the game and are all around almost 200,000 rings, which is a lot. But first, before we begin, what are the rules of this challenge? The first rule of this challenge is we can only use the character that we are maxing out. So that means if we're trying to get every single cosmetic for Sonic, we can only play Sonic. Second rule of this challenge is nothing really. That's honestly our only rule. As long as we can 100% the game, that's basically a win for us. But before we begin, I want to say make sure to like and subscribe so you can get more content like this. And let's start off with the first character. Now, the first character that we will be 100%ing is Sonic. Sonic has a total of 39 items for him to get. And in total, that is 77,396 rings, which is a lot. This is so much, in fact, that if you were to get S rank every single time you would play, it would take you over 223 matches in order to get this total. And with that, that's almost 24 hours of pure perfect gameplay. Now believe me, if you know outcome memories, that is almost near impossible. Starting at the very beginning, you might be seeing me using the Outcome Warrior skin a whole bunch. Well, for reason of the fact is that I did get this beforehand, and I'm telling you, I am not playing to get Outcome Warrior again. That skin took me almost 48 hours, I think, in total to get. And if I have to do the grind for that again, I think I'll go insane. And you'll see why in later. But as of right now, the total amount of rings we actually need is 25,340. Because there's many cosmetics in the game that we don't have. So the first thing that we got was the Ova outfit. In total, the Ova outfit costs around 1,200 rings. And overall, it's a pretty cool skin. And I use the white skin, because why not? Now, inside this challenge, the hardest part about this is honestly how long it's going to take. Grabbing rings is pretty simple inside of this game, because all you have to do is play matches. But depending on your letter ranking is how good or how bad you're going to do. Now, for the letter ranking inside of this game, each rank gives you a different amount of rings depending on how you did in the match. Now, this ranking goes from F to D to C to A to S, so you have many different options. In F tier, you only get 15 rings, and basically that means you didn't really do well that round. D, you only get around 50 rings. C, you get 75. B, you get 150. A, you get 250. And S rank, you get 350 rings, which is what we'll normally be using. Now, in order to get these, there's different point thresholds, and I'll tell you to get points in a little bit. But for us, when we're playing Sonic, we mainly want to be using our drop dashes. The reason why is because if you don't want to get F rank, you need at least 500 points at the end of a match. If you don't want to have D rank, you need 750 points by the end of a match. If you don't want C rank, then you need 1,000 points by the end of a match. If you don't want B rank, then you need 1,500 points. And if you want S rank, which you kind of have to, is you're going to need 1,750 points. Now this might sound easy, but it is not. For a fact that say if you lose a match, 25% of your total is removed, because there's many different buffs and multipliers. But in order to actually get points inside of this game, you have to stun the EXE. For Sonic, how his stun works is it's 225s and 150 for the amount of points you get during the match. This basically means every time you stun the EXE around every 20 seconds, you'll most likely be getting 100 points. Then, because of how his stuns work, every time you stun the EXE 3 times, that basically allows you to get the aggressive reward, which gives you around 15% more, since it's a 1.15 times the multiplier. Then again, if you do get to the last life, this does cancel it out. And one thing you always want to do with Sonic is survive as long as I could, but I also wanted to make sure that I got to last man standing and survive, since it would also give me double points. And if I won that, you would get quadruple points, since winning also gives you double points. Then another important thing before starting this run is the fact that revives give you 150 points. This allows me to get many different multipliers and gets S rank most of the time. Now, using these different ideas is how we're actually able to get S rank between each match. In order for us to get our total again, which is 25,000, we're going to need to play 43 matches. So in order for us to get S rank every time, we'll be using this in order to actually make that possible. Now, starting off inside of matches, normally I was just running around as you can see inside the gameplay, because honestly, there's not much to do until the EXE actually does something. If you find the EXE standing around and is most likely AFK, that's good because you're able to farm up points. But because of the time restraints, you want to make sure that you don't stun him too many times. A normal match of Outcome Memories can last around 5 to 8 minutes depending on how many survivors you have. Issue comes in is if you stun the EXE too many times, he actually activates his special mode, which basically is Enrage. During Enrage, it adds an additional minute and 36 to the clock, and every time the EXE gets somebody, it adds an additional 20 seconds. Now this can easily make a 5-minute match go up to a 10-minute match if you get to last man standing, which we don't want. Because believe me, there's nothing better than playing 10 minutes just to get F rank somehow, and your teammate who died in the first 2 seconds get S rank. Because the game does that sometimes. So what we like to do is always make sure to grab our teammates out of the way of the EXE and make sure not to stun too many times. As you see inside the clips, I was using my peel out ability a lot, especially near the end of the counter. When the countdown is about to end, it's important to use your peel out because sometimes the EXE tries to wait until then, and if you're able to escape because of how fast you are, you're most likely able to take you and your teammate out of the way before the EXE actually activates the additional minute and 30 seconds. Then for Sonic, it's really just drop dash, drop dash, drop dash, because unfortunately, peel out doesn't really give you any points, and danger time only gives you 1 point per second, so you just gotta keep drop dashing. And if you miss, well, tough luck. And believe me, I had that luck. But as we continued on, I encountered my first big issue of a run. My first issue was the fact that when matches had many people in it, most people inside of the game don't actually know how to play properly, which becomes very apparent later, and actually made us lose a whole bunch. Back in the day, for F rank, you used to get 0, and 15 is still good, but the fact that it'll take you 1,000 matches just to get 15,000 rings, that is not a viable strategy. So what I discovered is going to servers around 4 to 3 people actually worked surprisingly well. The reason why you want to be inside a server 4 to 3 to max out your rings is the fact that you are able to get S rank pretty simply, especially with Sonic, but it doesn't make the mounds last too long, and it doesn't make it easier for you to die. Since these servers are shorter, if you have somebody like an Eggman, a Tails, and a Knuckles on your team, you'll most likely not activate his ability in the time. Because for how long your stuns are and for how many stuns he needs to actually activate it, you can most likely escape if you play well enough. This is especially true if you ever have a Cream on your team, since all she does is heal really, and it's really effective when you have 3 people. Especially for the fact that when you have such a low amount of people, the time you actually have to survive before the escape area shows up is like 1.5 minutes. So as long as I kept using peel out after discovering this, I can easily and effectively grab my teammates out of the way and make sure to escape on time so they don't get killed. And now, doing this a whole bunch, we're able to get 8,000 points, which I spent, and knowing me, I accidentally deleted all the footage of me buying everything. So it's basically gonna look like the video. I have nothing at the beginning and somehow I have everything. That isn't my bad. But yeah, we had around 8,000 tokens, and we continue on using this strategy. Since the amount of people in the servers fluctuated, I normally join slightly lower player servers, since normally they don't gain many more people, especially if it's an outdated version server, and it allows you to basically play matches a lot quicker. And most of the time you find AFK people in there, so you know, pretty easy to get points. But then, we were finally able to get our Chris outfit, which if you don't know is from Deltarune. This one costs around 5,000 because you do need many different pieces of set. And with this, we continue trucking on. In my personal opinion, maps like Not Perfect and Green Hill are really effective for Sonic because you're able to get pretty far away from EXE, but the map is small enough that if anybody needs your help, you can just run up and save them, because I mean, 150 points is 150 points. And while doing this, I wanted to also make sure that people most of the time didn't pick Metal Sonic or Eggman, because the fact is when they did, I couldn't actually grab them with peel out. If you didn't know, when you're attempting to grab people with peel out, you can only use it on normal people. Fortunately, Metal Sonic is too heavy, and Eggman's just a big back, so we can't actually grab them as Sonic. This means when using peel out, we can just fly right over them without actually grabbing them. Because when people are down to use peel out, it instantly revives them and grabs them onto you, so you're able to take them out of danger from 2011X. But with these two, you would most likely have to spin dash in order to not make sure you take damage, and hopefully just not. But with these two, you have to make sure you use your spin dash for Eggman, since many times the EXE likes to camp bodies depending on how many people are left, and for Metal Sonic, he just kind of has to run. But even with all of these strategies, we still came into the major issue of only getting A's and B's during the matches. I started remembering that the fact is when you completely lose a match, you don't actually get a 2 times multiplier, you only get a 0.75 times multiplier. This happens because at the end of a match, if you don't escape in time, or you just die to the EXE, you only get 0.5x times. So instead of getting 1,000 points, you'd only get 750. So this means during a match, because even though you are able to stun a lot of Sonic, it doesn't really give you many points, is the fact that I could get, for example, 750 points by the end of a match. But even if I did escape, I could possibly only get 1,500 points, which would only give me A rank instead of S rank. Especially on the map of Hill Gym, which gives you an extra 30 seconds during last man, you're basically able to run around for an extra minute 46 while everyone else escapes, and that gives you time to use 4 drop dashes. Since this time allowed me to use 4 more drop dashes, this gave me just enough points most of the time to get S rank, or A rank. The difference between A rank and S rank is only 250 points, but still really important because it gives you 100 additional rings. And after collecting more and more points, we actually bought the Pace outfit, but in my opinion, using this Black Sonic outfit is just a lot better. I mean, the fact that you have the shadow eye, you have a black cape, you're Black Sonic, looks pretty cool. And of course, one of the best skin combos you can use is the Outcome Warrior. Now, how I got the Outcome Warrior beforehand was, like I said, playing a whole bunch of time. And with the Outcome Warrior, you want to be using the red robe, the red eyes, and honestly, anything you want for the chest piece. I normally do the hair. But continuing on with our journey, we finally only had one piece left we had to buy. The final piece that we had to buy for our mission was Finalizing Sonic. I saved this one for last since in my opinion, Finalizing Sonic is one of the coolest things because what it does is it deeply saturates anything you wear with it. So say if you're wearing a normal Sonic for blue and you're wearing a golden hat, the hat gets really bright and vibrant and you kind of look like the Allfather. And with this thing finally being last I had to unlock, I had to make sure that I tried my very hardest. Many servers I was in, there's people who are AFK like creams, and the big issue we came into was people leaving. Now you might be wondering, people leaving isn't that bad because it might screw you over if you're trying to stun. Well, the issue is if you're inside of a server of 7, which I highly do not recommend if you're trying to do this, well, if 2 people leave, you're surviving 8 minutes when normally you should be only surviving 6 minutes. That's right, you have 2 whole additional minutes of surviving because some people didn't feel like staying an extra few minutes, or just leaving entirely before the match started. But even with people leaving, teammates being AFK, and somehow being bad, I mean the fact that a cream tried healing me instead of reviving me. Instead of using the X button to revive me, she started doing the heal thing and the EXE got her almost immediately. I know, peak teammates. And of course with a random glitch every once in a while where you just phase for the EXE as Sonic drop dashing because of lag, which pretty much sucks for Sonic. But with all 4 of those things combined, it was still pretty easy in order to get S rank. I did do this challenge with a few of my friends, and normally what they would do is play something like Metal Sonic. With Metal Sonic, since he does so much stun, you're able to actually chain onto your stuns. And when you're chaining stuns, you only get 12, 12, 25, or really 12.5 since I think it does decimals. And instead of getting 100 points, you only get 50, but it is a guarantee since the EXE cannot jump over you. And for a few matches before he had to leave, we effectively used this in order for him to first get away and heal up so we can do the strategy again, and so I can get points more safely without only have to worry about the EXE jumping over or turning invisible, cause he can't. It also pairs up pretty well with Knuckles, which we will be doing in a different video. But finally, with that, we unlocked Finalizing Sonic. And as you can see here, we have every single cosmetic. That's right, 49 cosmetic pieces for Sonic, or 39. Forget which number. Now, if you're looking at the bottom of the video, you might be wondering, how is it almost over if you said 100% in the game? Well, the fact is that this will actually be a multi-part series if you guys want to see it. So make sure to comment down below if you want to see more videos like this. This will most likely be a 3-parter, having Eggman in one in itself, probably part 2, the rest of the characters in a part 3, and part 4 is the hardest character in the game. Knuckles the Echidna, having a skin worth 75,000 rings. That's right, that will be over 222 matches, and mainly the reason why we're splitting this up. If I had to play almost 1,500 matches in a row, that would absolutely drive me insane, because I'm not spending 250 hours doing this in one part. So if you want to continue seeing the story of how I 100% Outcome memories, make sure to like and subscribe. But anyways, that's going to be today's part. Hope you all liked and enjoyed. And if I don't see you in game, then I'll see you next video. Later.